From the 13th of August 1961 to the 9th of November 1989, a thin stretch of land over 150 kilometers long was one of the most infamous spots in the world. It may have been made from concrete and barbed wire, but for 28 years, the Berlin Wall was the world's most visible symbol of the Iron Curtain, physically separating communism from democracy. 43 kilometers of it ran through the middle of Berlin, dividing the Soviet-style German Democratic Republic from the Federal Republic of Germany, which controlled West Berlin. But how did such a complicated arrangement come about in the first place? For the answer to that, we have to go back even further, to 1945. The post-World War II amicable subdivision of Germany into French, American, British and Soviet-controlled sections ran into severe trouble with the advent of the Cold War. By 1961, economic and political tensions had seen so many East Berliners migrate to the West, the East German government erected what they called an anti-fascist protection barrier. Over the next 28 years, the original wire fence was greatly fortified, until in 1975, it became the sophisticated Grenzmauer, 45,000 separate sections of reinforced concrete, each 3.6 meters high and 1.2 meters wide. During the wall's existence, over 200 people were killed trying to cross it. The fall of communism across Eastern Europe eventually led to euphoric scenes as thousands of East Berliners surged through border crossing points on the 9th of November 1989. German reunification concluded a year later on the 3rd of October 1990. Today, all that remains are small sections of concrete memorials to the fact that no wall lasts forever. Our next infamous place is around 41 degrees north, 49 degrees west. That's right, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Even if filmmaker James Cameron hadn't focused on its tragic end for the most profitable movie of all time to date, the RMS Titanic would still need little introduction. Only 4 days into its maiden voyage from Southampton, England, en route to New York, at 11:40 p.m. on the 14th of April 1912, the ship hit an iceberg and sank 2 hours and 40 minutes later. Over the centuries, there have been thousands of wrecked ships and other nautical disasters, but above all others, the story of this doomed liner continues to fascinate people the world over. The sinking is still the worst British civilian maritime disaster in history, although there have been greater losses of life elsewhere, and especially in wartime. Perhaps Titanic's fame is due to the grandiose claims made about the vessel. The biggest passenger steamship at the time of its launch, it was claimed by the Shipbuilder magazine to be practically unsinkable. The transatlantic superliner also boasted the last word in luxury, with opulent staircases, a gymnasium, Turkish bath, squash court, library, and sumptuous restaurant, the Café Parisien. And then, of course, there are all the mistakes that were made during its sinking. The fact that there were only enough lifeboats for half of the passengers, and that many of them were launched half full, or that the nearby SS Californian had its wireless turned off for the night and, confused by the colours, ignored the Titanic's distress rockets. But also remembered are the acts of heroism, from dauntless souls like Wallace Hartley and his orchestra, who played on as the ship went down, or the unsinkable Molly Brown, who herded women and children onto the lifeboats. But mostly the Titanic will be remembered for showing so clearly what terrible consequences can arise when mistakes are made out of greed, stupidity, carelessness, and simple bad luck. Although there remains some disagreement as to the exact number, around 1,500 lives were lost that night, needlessly.
Three, two, one.